I'm 35 male, a small business owner, and my brother 32 used to work for me. Growing up, we've had our fair share of sibling rivalry, but I never imagined it would escalate to this. Growing up, I played a prank on my brother that he never really got over. When we were kids, I was 12, he was 9, I hid his favourite action figure in the backyard. It took him days to find it. When he did, it was all dirty and a bit broken. I apologised at the time, but he was really upset and never really let it go. Fast forward to adulthood, I started a small but successful landscaping business. My brother struggled to find steady work a few years ago, so I offered him a job. He accepted, and things were fine at first. He worked hard, and I thought we'd move past our childhood issues. But about a year ago, strange things started happening. Equipment would go missing, clients would cancel unexpectedly, and our finances began to take a hit. I couldn't figure out what was going wrong. I trusted my team, but something was clearly sabotaging us from the inside. After months of stress and financial strain, I installed hidden cameras in the office and warehouse. I didn't want to believe it, but I had to find out who was responsible. What I found shocked me to the core. The footage showed my brother tampering with equipment, deleting important client emails, and even forging cancellation notices. After initially denying it, I confronted him and he broke down and admitted everything. He said he never forgave me for the prank and wanted to get back at me. He knew how much the business meant to me and wanted to see me struggle as payback. I was furious and heartbroken. This was my brother, someone I trusted implicitly. I had no choice but to fire him on the spot. When I told our parents, they were upset but understood my position. However, my brother started telling extended family members and friends a different story, painting me as a tyrannical boss who fired him without cause. Now I'm getting calls and messages from relatives who don't know the whole story, calling me heartless and urging me to reconcile with my brother. He's struggling financially again and they think I should rehire him out of family loyalty, but I can't bring myself to do it. He betrayed my trust and almost ruined my business. So, am I the idiot for firing my brother and refusing to rehire him despite the pressure from my family? You broke a toy of his when you were kids. He nearly wrecked your livelihood. These things are in entirely different realms. Not the idiot, your brother needs help. It's not normal for someone to try and ruin another person's life by hiding a damn toy. The fact that he's now lying to your extended family to make you look unreasonable for firing him is further evidence. Just tell them all the truth. You fired his butt for intentionally sabotaging your company over a petty childhood grudge. He did all this over a damn action figure. For him to still be seething over a piece of plastic after over 2 decades, something must be wrong with him. His payback was so far beyond OP's original childhood prank, it's bizarre. OP should increase his security at home and work. Getting caught and fired will make the brother even more enraged, even though it's all his fault. Be very careful, OP. Your brother isn't playing with a full deck. He isn't sorry for this decades-long hatred and vengeance. In fact, he's probably even more enraged than before. I'd be worried that his actions would escalate. Hire a lawyer, file a police report and get a restraining order against him. Sue him for your losses. Show the videos to all your family and friends. And finally, advise your brother to get treatment for mental illness. He tried to bankrupt you. He's literally spent 23 years obsessed with getting revenge on you and making you pay. I'm so sorry, OP. Don't let them guilt you into hiring him back. Nobody deserves this level of betrayal. Protect yourself. My ex-wife Jen, 38, and I, 42 male, were married for 8 years before divorcing during the global issue 4 years ago. We have 2 kids together, a young male teen and a female tween who we share custody of and co-parent well together. At her suggestion, I got a vasectomy after our daughter was born. I remarried my new wife, Carrie, 34, about a year ago. Carrie doesn't have kids but has always wanted a family. After many discussions before our engagement, I agreed to reverse it and try to start a family with Carrie. I had the reversal procedure done just after our wedding. Carrie and I found out about a month ago that she's pregnant. She's currently about 15 weeks along. We've not told anyone about the pregnancy until recently. I wanted to wait until I had an opportunity to tell my kids in person that they would have a younger sibling. Now that they're done with school, I had that chance this past weekend. Both of my kids were very excited and happy to hear the news. They get along great with Carrie and are excited to have a new baby brother or sister. After I told the kids, they wanted to call their mom and tell her about it too. I was a little apprehensive because I didn't know how Jen would react, so I tried to convince them to let me tell her first, but my son ended up telling her via text before that. A few minutes later, Jen texted me back, basically asking me what the heck I was thinking. I texted her back saying that I would prefer not to have this conversation over text and asking if she was free for a chat. She said she wasn't and sent a flurry of texts asking me a bunch of questions. I again told her I would prefer to have this conversation in person or on the phone. She finally called me later that night and wasn't happy. She told me I should have told her I reversed my vasectomy so she could talk to our kids about it. I told her that my body and my life with Carrie is not her business and that neither of our kids even know I had it, let alone what it was. I've never told them I had one, so why would I tell them I reversed it? She told me that since this would have a huge impact on our kids' lives, I should have told her about it first. She said that it is her business when it will directly impact our kids. I told her that it's my body and that my health choices are of no concern to her anymore. The conversation started getting heated and I ended the call before things got too far. Jen has since calmed down and sent a text congratulating Carrie and me, but she still maintains that I should have notified her of my decision to reverse my procedure before things got to a point where Carrie was pregnant. She thinks that she has a right to know since it will impact our kids. I think she has no right to any information regarding what I decide to do with my body unless it's life-threatening. My marriage and life with Carrie is not information that my ex-wife has any right to. Not the idiot. I agree with you. Your body, your business. Once the divorce was final, she lost all right to lecture about your choices. As far as the kids go, you're their dad and have as much say in their lives as she does. She doesn't have to like it, but it's really none of her business. I disagree. OP, you're a massive idiot for not telling your vasectomy reversal news to your ex, your kids, me, your boss, your neighbours, the postal delivery utility workers at your home, your third-grade teacher, etc. In fact, I am appalled you didn't hold a State of the Sausage address on your social media. I mean, would it have been that difficult for you to show some consideration for us? We all signed up for your scrot watch alerts. Seriously, she signed papers divorcing you 4 years ago. It doesn't matter how well you two co-parent. She doesn't share news about her irregular cycles with you. You don't share news about your swimmer's recipe with her. A judge said so. Not the idiot. This is between you, your wife, and your doctor. Why in the world would she need to talk to your kids about your fertility status? Ex-wife wanted first dibs so she could prime the children by telling him that daddy is going to start a new family with his new wife and they won't be the most important people to him anymore and he won't have time for them as much. So the kids would be upset when they finally heard the news instead of excited about having a new sibling. The only reason she could have wanted to be the one to tell the kids would be to try and make it a bad thing to drive a wedge between the kids and her ex. My mother babysat almost all the grandkids 3 times a week in the summer. I'm very grateful she does this as it saves us a ton of money. In total, she watches about 7 kids and one of those kids is my middle child's son, Jamie. Jamie is a lot sometimes. He's 8 years old and compared to his younger sister, he's less behaved. My mother has talked to my wife and me multiple times about it. She's done recommended timeouts. Overall, he doesn't behave much better after them. We've both talked to him about it, but no improvement. This is the issue. My mom was going to take all the kids to the pool with my dad. Jamie would not stop goofing around. He would run around, grab the other kids' pool stuff, and be loud and annoying in general. My mom told him that if he didn't stop, no one would be going to the pool. He didn't stop, and she held true to her word. The rest of the day, all the kids were mad at him. I picked them both up and she informed me about what happened. Mom told me he behaved the rest of the day after that. Jamie was very upset about no one liking him. The kids basically ignored him. Even my youngest was angry at him. My mother told me that he needs to learn how his actions affect other people, and I agree with her. I am 100% fine with her using social dynamics to get him to behave. It also seemed to work. She plans to take the kids to the pool on Friday. I told my wife what happened and she was angry that my mother did this. We had an agreement and she thinks I'm being a huge jerk for agreeing with my mom. Not the idiot. Your wife is going to raise a brat if she has her way, and her darling child is likely to be even more alone if his behavior isn't corrected. You're not required to side with your wife simply because you're married to her, especially in a private argument. It was a brilliant punishment, to be honest, and you can't argue with the results. Peer pressure is a powerful tool. It keeps adults' behavior in check as well, and part of every parent's task is to figure out how to motivate their children. Timeouts might work for some children, but certainly don't work for your son. Now you know what does work. I've been with my husband for 8 years now. For the first 7 years we planned heavily because we both wanted a child, but we needed to make sure we had everything just right because I was steadfast in the fact that I would never be okay with sending our child to daycare. I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. He 100% agreed. We bought the house, we built the nursery, we saved every penny we could afford to save, etc. We are sitting on a very nice nest egg of just over $150,000. I got pregnant in December 2022. I gave birth at the very beginning of September. It has been an absolute crap show since then. So to kick off, within the first 2 months of me giving birth and having severe PPD, he decides to make an utterly out-of-the-blue career change. I urge him to go get checked by his PCP for PPD, because surely something must be wrong to be making such a life-changing decision with zero warning so soon after I give birth. He refuses, insists that he's fine but that his career is all of a sudden too much and it's taking too much time away from bonding with the baby. It was literally a normal 40-hour work week, but he was getting angry because for the last 2 weeks of his employment, his boss had been asking that he work 4 hours every Saturday, his normal day off, but it's only 4 hours. So he quits. He gets a job elsewhere 2 days later and takes a $4.50 per hour pay cut. Okay, no big deal, except he has to pay $160 out of each paycheck for the mandatory benefits and work fees. That doesn't include taxes. He's also been working 6 days a week versus the 5 that he was working. So he spends less time at home. But, well, they said I could probably get a manager, so I guess it's okay. He's bringing in no more than $300 a paycheck, in comparison to the $600 plus paychecks he was getting. Our bills are almost $2,000 a month. Therefore, we've had to pay out of our savings every single month, and it adds up so quick. Well, here's where I may be an idiot. Bills are obviously due soon. I asked him how much money he'd set aside for the bills so I could work through the numbers. He tells me that he wasn't able to save anything for bills and he literally has $4 in his account. This means that come the 1st, all of the bill money will be coming out of our savings. He tells me, maybe you need to start looking for a job. My mom will probably watch the baby. I just don't say anything because I know I will explode. His mom comes here this morning and he runs it by her without even getting my approval, which would absolutely be a hard no because I'm quite certain she's early stages of dementia, and she goes, "No, but I know a daycare that has openings," and proceeds to call them and tell them that we want to enroll our daughter. I speak up and say, "No, I'm not putting the baby in daycare. I'm also not having her watch the baby. It's not happening and my husband needs to figure it out." My mother-in-law then tells me that it's not fair that I won't come up with solutions to help her son, who is clearly struggling. I snap. I tell her that it's not my job to come up with solutions for a man who failed me and our child. We had everything planned. We had the money. We figured this out and spent years figuring it out before coming to this point. Now he is going against the plan. He decided to quit his job. He refused to get help when I urged him to. He didn't save any of his paychecks for bills. This is on him, 100%. Before anyone could respond, I went inside. I packed an overnight bag for both me and the baby and told him I'd be going to my mother's house until he got his crap together and got his head on straight. He mostly texts me saying he can't believe I think he's failing us, but his mother is blowing up my phone saying that I'm a dumb idiot, that plans change, and that since I'm married to her son, he's the only one working, he should have the final say in what happens from this point forward. Am I the idiot? How did you buy a house, build a nursery and save $150,000 in 7 years when it sounds like he's never made much above minimum wage? Are there some zeros missing or added somewhere? I made above minimum wage and so did he. He still does. I worked as a pediatric nurse and I was making $48 an hour. I stopped working when I was 8 months pregnant. He's always made less than me, but he's still making good-ish money. He was making $21 an hour and now he's making $16.50. So it's still above minimum wage, but not by much. Oh, so you saved the majority of this. Are you sure he quit his former job instead of being fired? Quitting a job because of 4 hours of Saturday work and then taking a job that requires Saturday work all day just doesn't make sense, especially with that big pay cut. Mate, he makes $16.50 an hour and his paychecks are $300? Ain't no way. It's going up his nose, gambling, into a mistress, or into hookers. It doesn't work out even if he's paid weekly. Assume a 40% tax load, that's still $400 a check. OP, this whole situation raises red flags and I can guarantee that he's hiding something from you. Girl, not the idiot. Your husband failed you in every way, went back on his word, quit his job without warning, went crying to his rude, disrespectful, disgusting mama, and now he's upset because you told him the truth. To be honest, his mother could never enter my house, see her grandchild, or ever speak to me again if she called me the C word. It almost seems like he planned this, given the timing. I'd be done with his lazy, crying butt. This is so petty, but I may have gone too far. I, 26 female, have an older sister, Jade, 28, who's not in a relationship, isn't pregnant, and is not planning to have kids anytime soon. While I had my son a few days ago, I'm not close to my family. There's a very big golden child thing with Jade, and my parents really should have stopped at their one perfect darling kid, what they call her, because I always got the short end of the stick with them. So when they found out my son's name was Finnick, Jade came and told me that I couldn't call him Finnick and needed to rename my son because Finnick is on her baby boy name list, so she'll use it one day, not me. I laughed in her face and told her to leave and dismissed her request by saying she had no authority in this. My parents decided to jump in the next day and they told me I should listen to my sister and choose another name to be a good sister to Jade. They told me to think about how Jade would feel and that she prides herself on that list. I decided to bring some snark into this, and my response was simply that if Jade wants to own the rights to names, then she better get rich fast and buy those names because otherwise she cannot stop people from using the ones on her list. Not even me. For the record, I know it doesn't work like that. My parents started to freak out over this and basically told me I was being a bully, saying things like that and how dare I dismiss Jade. I threw them out too. What followed were texts from Jade and my parents saying I had no reason to treat them so rudely. I blocked them. I might be done. But did I go too far? Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. If you looked over your sister's list and told her certain names were off limits because they were on your list, would she offer you the same benefit? Of course not. This is the action of a child who was given special treatment by your parents and never said no in life. She grew up into an adult who doesn't seem to comprehend that there are other people in the world, and you cannot dictate the terms of another person's life. You name your baby whatever it is you wish to name them. You tell your sister that she survived the millions of other people with the same name as her future baby, so she'll survive yours if you choose that name. Or, better yet, tell them that Jade is on your list and that she should be a good sister and change her name in case you have a daughter next. You didn't go too far. They went too far with this stupid demand.